I didn't feel in control. You know, you hear these sayings, oh, well, if it was meant to be, you know, it's meant to be, you know, it's outside of your control. Well, you can actually design your life. I believe we've got that authority. You can design your life, you can take control of it. And so that's the major change in my mindset, that I've gone from thinking, well, I'll try my best, but you're not really trying. I wasn't trying. I wasn't changing my habits. My bank account then wasn't growing, but now I've taken control, and I've taken control in terms of my consistency in how I approach money. And so that change of mindset, anyone can get there.
Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Sofa. If you don't know who I am yet, please go and look me up. I'm very happy to be here with my guest, Anneliese Smith. How are you?
Hello, Rachel. I'm fine, thank you. Lovely
Thank you.
to be here. Thank you for asking me to come along.
You're very welcome. As I ask all guests, I'm going to ask you to tell us who you are and the things that you do.
Awesome. Well, so happy to be here. It's a real honour. I've been watching On the Sofa. I'm an avid fan. So for me to be actually on the sofa, oh my goodness. I am a financial coach. And what I do is I help people to overcome negative mindsets and to rejig their blueprint, a negative blueprint about money. So that's what I do. I'm a wife, I'm a mummy, I'm a believer in Christ. There's so much about me. But I don't know how much you want to know, where you want me to start.
Well, I think that's a good place.
That's a good place to start.
I do have some questions based
Awesome.
on that. Again, just want to say thank you for coming on the sofa and thank you for being a fan. As many people know, it was launched to do things like this,
Yes.
to showcase people like you who are doing some amazing things for other people's lives, empowering them to change who they are and really get out of a negative mindset, to embark on this journey of empowerment, inspiration, aspiration to really achieve their goals. So having you here and hearing the things you say makes sense to me. First question then, describe or define finance coaching and why you think it's important.
I think that financial coaching is essential, especially with what we've recently gone through, being in a pandemic, so many people losing their jobs, being really uncertain about what to do and how to proceed with their money and to sort out their finances for their family and future generations. I'll start with the problem. The problem is we go to college, we go to school, we go to uni, and they teach us how to get a job. You learn your subjects. They teach you how to make money to an extent, but they don't teach you how to look after your money, how to budget, how to invest. And so there's a massive gap in the market, and that's where financial coaching comes in. It's not the same as being a financial advisor, where you're working with high net worth clients, helping to rearrange their investments and giving them specific advice as to what they should do. As a financial coach, my role is to guide my clients to where they want to be, to help them, as I said, change their mindset, to become more positive about money and to give them confidence. So I'm a guide. I wouldn't say to a client, you must do this, you have to do that. No, I will speak to them about what they want. What do they want to achieve? What's in their heart? What do they want to achieve for their families? And then we can look at what are they currently doing? What are your spending habits as well as your mindset? And from that point, I can then give them a guide that they can go away with, and I will support them. So I don't just say, well, try this and try that and stand back and say, bye-bye. No, I'm there for the long haul. I'm there to support my clients to make small changes that will then lead them to larger changes in their finances. So if they want to buy their first family home, how can you achieve that with your current earnings? Do you need to look into a second income? I'm all there for second incomes, third incomes even. Multiple streams of income are so important. And so that's my take on how I approach my clients and how I support them.
Excellent. Tell me then, you've embarked on the journey of financial coaching for a reason. What was your previous relationship with finance? Was it that you felt that you suddenly realised you were financially incompetent and you realised that actually I need to do something to change my mindset in order to change my financial standing? Tell me about that kind of journey.
Ooh, child, where do you start?
Yeah.
When did I realise that Houston, we have a problem when it comes to finances? I'd say probably in my early 20s, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So coming from a background where I wasn't taught, as I said previously, we're not taught, some of us aren't taught how to manage money, how to grow our money. And so I came from that background. But you don't realise how bad it is until you get around other people and see how they operate and how they manage their money, and how you're going out spending at the next sale, and then your friend is just taking a seat and saying, no, I'm not going to spend today. And you start to pick up on different behaviours around money and what people say about money. But I'd say I really realised when I was at uni, and a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, we went through uni together, and she was always the friend where we'd carry on spending, spending up the student loan, we're all working, we have no money at the end of the month, some of us. But that wasn't her situation. She always knew when to say, no, I've spent enough. And when we came out of uni, a lot of us had debt. She had savings. And that was a light bulb moment for me then. And I thought, there's something that's not right in what I've been taught. And that's not to disparage my mum or anyone in my family, because you can't teach what you don't know. Hence why I went on this process. I started studying financial advice, and then I've now gone into financial coaching. So I have I have all the detail that I need about financial services, investments, pensions, but my heart is for helping those people that fall in between. The people that aren't high net worth clients as such, but just need guidance and need encouragement and need to be taken to the next level in how they approach money. So after I'd initially realised, there's something wrong with how I look at money, I actually went into financial services. So we're talking 20 years ago. Giving away my age. Talking 20 years ago. So I went into financial services, and I learned so much in that arena. I learned what people's problems were when it came to finances. I saw the gaps in knowledge and how to advise them. And so that was the start. But the interesting thing was, even when you have the details, sometimes you don't follow the rules that you've learned. It's just like they say, knowledge is power, but knowledge is only power when you use your knowledge. And so for a while I was well behaved, stopped using credit cards and such in the wrong way. But then after a while, I kind of veered off into the old blueprint that I'd been taught as a child. And looking back now, it's because I didn't have a financial coach, someone I could be accountable to say, well, you've done so well so far, keep doing that. Look at what that has done. Look at your bank accounts, look at your investments. Can you see how much growth you've had in the last, could be a year, could be 6-month period. But try this. Do that. And without a financial coach, if you're not from that background, it can be really difficult for you to stay on track and for you to win. And so now that I've gone through this process over the years, I realise how important it is for someone to tell you you can win. It doesn't matter what your background was like. It doesn't even matter how much you earn. You still can win, and you can have financial stability.
Absolutely. I was going to ask the question about, do you think anybody can become financially stable irrespective of their social background? But you've obviously just said anybody can.
I believe
There's
so.
something about people's relationship with money, isn't it? It's that, you mentioned it, that financial blueprint, having this unhealthy relationship with money. For example, someone might say, the affirmations, I don't have enough. How am I going to buy that? I can't afford that. It's too expensive.
Yes.
But remember, a lot of people from more kind of maybe socially deprived backgrounds
Yeah.
have heard their parents say, that's too expensive for us. We
Absolutely.
can't buy that now.
Yeah.
We have to save for that. So that has become people's mantra.
Yes.
And it's moved into the adult life. So tell me, give me some maybe anecdotes of where you've had to face working with a client that has that particular mindset of a negative relationship with money, whereby they don't understand once you change your ideology and positivity about money, that's when your kind of doors of abundance open, as it were.
It's a case of speaking to the individual about where they've been in terms of how they've handled finances in the past and where they want to go. And I have a discovery session with my clients, and it's called a discovery session because I need to discover what's in your heart, what's in your mind, like you say. What are these sayings that you keep saying and repeating to yourself? And we've all said them. I say we've all said them. Some of us have said them. But coming from the background that I come from, I don't want to generalize and presume we all come from that background, because we don't. It was a case of my mum she did her best. She absolutely did her best. But when you said I can't afford it, that I do my best not to say that to my children now. And so I have this back and forth with my clients about, I think we might be related, possibly, like a little jokey back and forth. And I say, I think you might, if we're not related, you must know my mum. Can you finish these sentences? You want to buy something, you haven't got enough money, so you say, I can't. And how do you finish that? I can't afford it. Money is the root of all evil. And so there's sayings that we say to ourselves that put a distance between us and financial freedom. And it's because with my background, we didn't have anything. And so the best way my mum had to deal with it was to kind of put that distance between us and she didn't want us to be disappointed. On one hand, she's an amazing mum. I've got to say that. I will never disparage anyone's parents because, as I said, you can't teach what you don't know. She taught me to put God first. She taught me education was really important, but she didn't know how to teach me financial literacy because she didn't know it. And so when I'm with a client, I want to find out, what's your background? It's not a case of starting a meeting very formal and very stuffy, because that's what makes some people very scared to even look at their finances. The jargon, they find it complicated. And as you said, they've been taught that, well, no, that's not for us. I don't even want to get involved in talking about my pensions. I don't want to think about wills. And so there's that aspect of unpicking that with a client and debunking that belief, that set of beliefs, to say, well, no, I know we can be quite superstitious as people. So I've had people where they don't even want to talk about things like life insurance because, I don't want to prompt my death, but you won't. What you're doing, you're setting up protection for your children, for your husband, wife, your partner, to take worry away from them should the worst happen to you. So if you look at it for what that tool is there for you to leave a legacy and to take worry away, then it's about changing perspective. So we go back and forth. I love the conversations that we have, and I love seeing them get that light bulb moment when you're looking at them and they finally, the penny drops and they're like, okay, I can do this. Absolutely. And it's about empowering them and giving them that confidence to be able to take charge of their finances. And I'm their guide behind them, giving them little pointers of how they can make changes.
Absolutely. Do you think that the biggest hurdle to financial literacy is purely your kind of upbringing? And had somebody been brought up in a household where there was never a struggle of money, do you think that person as an adult would always be financial literate and as a result of that obviously be quite abundant around money?
I love that question. I love that question because I guess when you're growing up in any household, you tend to do what you see rather than what you're told to do. So if you could be in a rich household, but if your parents aren't really exhibiting and letting you see good practice, then you're not going to know how to maintain that or grow that for yourself. So that's really important. And we often see, and what I've seen, you could have two people in the same job that I've spoken to. One has great savings because they've got great habits. The other person is broke and in debt. And so it's about I show my clients the importance of habit and consistency of habit. And so irrespective of your background and your upbringing, what habits do you have on a daily? It's the mindset is one thing. So once we've gotten over that hurdle and their mindset is more positive towards money, what's your takeaway? What are you gonna do with that? Are you gonna actually change your habits? And that's where I come in.
Yeah.
So what they have, after our initial first meeting, we would have another meeting where I could present their detailed financial forecast to them. But then after that, I don't just leave them to get on with it. I'm there for them to, sound ideas. They can sound off ideas with me. If they're feeling weak in an area, and they need clarity, I'm always there that they can reach out to me. So it's just giving that support.
Brilliant. In what you described, I've just kind of pictured this kind of, roadmap, as it were. So your mindset informs your behaviours, your behaviours inform your habits, your habits inform the change. At what stage in that map do you say, I can now pull away because this person has clearly transformed their thinking around money and now I can see a difference in their lifestyle?
I take the lead on pulling away from the client. So I'm there for as long as they need me. If they only want me after they've had their initial financial forecast for 6 months, that's fine. But if they want ongoing support, they can have that, because situations change in people's lives. So when they come to me, they may be in one job, then they change what they're doing, they may start a business, they may become unemployed. And so they then need a new plan, or they need they just need to speak to someone, because I'm there for them to speak to as well. It's not a case of them thinking, well, who do I go to? Because money issues can cause so much stress. And so I love the fact that I give ongoing support. It's not just a case of, oh, thank you, bye. I'm there for the long haul.
Okay. Are you a qualified financial coach?
Yes.
Excellent. And tell me a little bit about the program specifically. So how does somebody go about becoming one of your mentees, as it were? What does the program look like? What the costs are like? And what different packages do you offer?
Oh, juicy. Okay. Well, in January, I'm really excited to be able to offer the first. I already started taking bookings, but I can take another 10 bookings in January for the initial discovery meeting that we have. And if they decide, the discovery meetings are free, I'll say that first. If a person decides to then have ongoing support with me, the first 10 people in January can get it half price.
Excellent.
So I'm really happy to offer that. I'm excited about that. The program starts with a discovery meeting. Then you have a financial forecast meeting. There's then ongoing support that we schedule according to a client's routine. And after that, it's very much up to them and what they need from the support. But I'll always check in with them based on our plan and see how they're getting on. And then we can take it from there. And if they want to book me again for another year, then they can.
Excellent. What sort of commitment is required?
Time-wise, in terms of, it's not a heavy commitment in terms of time, as in they don't have to check in with me every week. That would not be practical. They can check in with me every month, every couple of months, but I'm not going to just leave them to just get on with it in that first year, say, because we could have a situation where, let's be honest, we're humans. Let's talk truth now. We don't like change. Change is scary. And so after the initial meeting, they could be like a deer in headlights, and then they don't do anything. They don't action the change. And so I'd be very careful to schedule a follow-up with them to ensure that the changes are actually implemented, because otherwise they've come to me and they haven't gained what they came to me for. And so I'm very hot on that. I'm like, okay, well, I haven't spoken to you in maybe a few months, so we need to catch up. It's really important that we have that relationship and they know they can come to me. And also, somebody might I've had a client where they think they want change, but they're not ready for change. It's idea liking the concept, but are you really ready? You might want to start investing. You might want to save up for a house, but unless you're willing to do the work and take small changes, not massive changes. The way my programs work is we implement small changes in your routine because we don't want to scare you off. This is a new thing for you. If you've never really actively managed your money, you need to take small steps, not massive strides, because then you'll freak out. So you take small steps, and then when you see some success, so it could be a case of, okay, open up an ISA. Have you thought about opening up an ISA? I talk to them about what an ISA is. They go away and do that. They see their savings start to grow, and then they'll be like, okay, well that wasn't too bad.
Yeah. As you were talking, I was just thinking about credit files. Just credit files came into my mind, and a lot of people are afraid to check their credit files because of seeing the red alerts or seeing a low score, etc. Because maybe 20 years ago they had this really low score and they couldn't buy a car on finance. However, surely the idea of checking your credit file lets you know if there are dangers or alerts which you can then correct.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about some of the instances where you've had to say to somebody, what's your credit score, or have you checked your credit file? And they're like, no, I haven't gone there. And you've now provided the right advice and coaching for them to do so.
Do you know how common that is? It is so common. When you're saying it, I was just like, because some people don't even know what a credit file is at all. They don't realise they can even check their credit history. And then you'll have somebody who's hot on it, and I won't mention any of the names because there's lots of different companies you can go to, some beginning with E, others beginning with other letters. But you can keep on top of your credit, and it's so important because unless you know, then how can you plan? You have to know what your credit file is currently and what your credit rating is, especially if you're going towards something like buying property. And so, that is a very common thing. And I'm a big advocate for that. You have to keep on top of that because you could have moved. You could have taken out something when you were in your teens, forgotten about it. Or do you know that there's a big one? This is a big hazard.
Yeah.
People think they've paid off a credit card, but they've left a small balance on there and then forgotten about it. And they're not checking the statement because they haven't got a monthly payment. And that's still accruing interest. And it's still coming up as a missed payment. Yeah,
it literally shows on your credit file as default. Yes. So you're defaulting every single month for 4 years on a credit card where you owe £49, for example, and you didn't have a clue about it.
Yeah.
And that credit card company may not always be forward in chasing that small amount of money.
It's a small amount for them.
Yeah,
but for you, that is messing up your credit. Because defaults can last on your credit file for 6 years. That's a massive impact if you want to go and take out a loan for something else that you need. Exactly.
I asked a question about commitment earlier, but I think there is a big psychological commitment that people need to make. It's that commitment of saying to themselves, I want to change my financial standing. I want to buy more money. I want some more assets, for example. I want to not feel inferior to money. I need to commit to making a change. I need to really change that mindset. Have you had any clients that have struggled to make that psychological commitment?
Absolutely. And it echoes what I was saying previously about some people that I have worked with, they're just not ready. And it's sad because it's a psychological barrier. And I work with them towards overcoming that mindset, but it's like any kind of change you want to make in your life, whether it's finance or healthy living, whatever it is, that person has to make that commitment. And you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I'll do my best, but I've had a number of clients who just aren't ready. They want to keep doing the same thing, but there's an old cliche saying: if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got.
Get the same result,
right? There's no change, and so all I do is I find out in the first instance what is their motivation for coming to see me. Why did you want to see me? What do you want to achieve? Do you realise to get to Z, we need to do A, B, C. Small steps. And I always go back to, what is their why? What do you want? You can get there, but you have to be willing to take that change. But then an important point on that is, sometimes it's not just a mindset thing. It could also be even a mental health issue or depression. Because I've had people who I can see the block is more to do with a depressive mind state. I've had one client who's bipolar, and so I could see that is outside of my remit. All I could say to them is, I would advise you to go and see your GP or see a counsellor, and I'm always here for you when you're ready.
Absolutely.
Because it can be something I can't actually manoeuvre around because they're not ready.
Yeah, and that's a really important point, actually, isn't it? Because those who are, vulnerable, anxious, fearful, mental health issues, like you mentioned, and just kind of vulnerable, maybe have an inferiority complex.
Yes.
Your mind isn't ready to embark on any kind of change, let alone money. So that's the last thing. And in a great way, they're the ones that need it the most.
Absolutely.
Need that coaching the most and that change of mindset around money, particularly. I want to go back to you and your relationship with money, or your bad relationship with money compared to your good relationship with money now. And I want you to talk to me about the benefits that you've received from having a more abundant mindset, knowing that you are in control of your life and about your decisions around money, and how you really feel now about it all.
Wow, that's just key. I mean, my relationship with money, as I started to tell you about earlier, it wasn't good. But I think because I had a bad relationship with money in my early years, it puts me in good stead with what I do now. Because I can see the pitfalls when I'm speaking to somebody. And what I learned is that I can take control of my life. I think sometimes I'll speak for myself and my background. I didn't feel in control. You hear these sayings, oh, well, if it was meant to be, it's meant to be, it's outside of your control. Well, you can actually design your life. I believe we've got that authority. You can design your life. You can take control of it. And so that's the major change in my mindset, that I've gone from thinking, well, I'll try my best. But you're not really trying. I wasn't trying. I wasn't changing my habits. My bank account then wasn't growing. But now I've taken control. And I've taken control in terms of my consistency in how I approach money. And so that change of mindset, anyone can get there. Honestly, I know people are probably watching thinking, no, I can't. You didn't see my bank account. No, you didn't see mine and my bad credit and the mistakes I made. I mean, when I was a single parent, I was a single parent for 12 years. And I was still in that old mindset then. And so the things that my mum maybe hadn't been able to teach me about money, at that point in my life, I was just going through the same processes. And you tend to do what your parents did, didn't you? Until you can find a better way. And so I just remember not only having bad credit, I remember having like a jar in my kitchen where I'd go into this jar to find the pound coins, the 50p's, to go and buy bread. And I was working full time. That was down to poor money management. And I say that out there because I know there's people in that situation, but you don't have to be. You don't have to be. You can take a step back, speak to me.
Yes.
We'll look at what you're doing. We'll look at where you want to be, and I'll help guide you towards where you want to be in your finances.
One of the good things about what you're doing as a financial coach is that once people get through your program and almost graduate, as it were, they then have the skills and tools to teach their friends and their families. Even if it's not on a formal basis of being a professional financial coach, they have the tricks of the trade and the skills to really make a difference for other people's lives. So I think there's a kind of a ripple effect that happens once you decide that I want to change my financial setting. I have a question for you, and it's about your view regarding the connection with economic power, or financial power, I guess, and its correlation with health and lifestyle.
Massive correlation. Massive. I mean, money doesn't buy happiness. But if you don't have any money, it's hard to be really happy. It's hard to do anything to help yourselves and others around you. So there's a massive correlation between your peace of mind and also your financial situation. Some of the people I've spoken to, they're so heavy laden with stress because they don't know. Finances are not a simple thing to approach. Financial literacy, if you're lacking it, it can hold you back in not just in your finances. It can hold you back in your mindset, in your planning, in every area of your life. And so if you don't have that new blueprint, we should call it, in order to make the right choices for your future, then your peace of mind can definitely be affected. And I've seen it in myself as well as others. If my finances were off, I'm not a happy woman. And so it can lead to other negative behaviours and can lead to depression. I don't know if you know an organisation, mind.org. They talk in length about the links between financial struggles and mental health. And so it's imperative for your well-being for you to look at where you're going wrong with your finances. And so it doesn't just impact you, but your family around you. It can impact relationships. They say one of the number one causes of divorce is financial issues. So there are so many negative effects poor financial management can have. And so it's imperative to have a plan.
And also, you know, the type of food you can buy, the quality of the food you can buy. You know, we have a lot of families who are vulnerable, who spend a lot of money on microwavable food for their kids. And you've got to think about, in terms of sustenance for children, how nutritious are their meals because of lack of finances. And I don't think that enough is being said publicly about that issue. What you eat, you become. You know, and there's loads of work for us to do around that, and hopefully, you know, we can work together and delivering something which is really meaningful and impactful, and it's going to change people's lives around that. I'm going to be cheeky here and ask you whether you will be happy to collaborate with On The Sofa to deliver one free online financial coaching session.
Awesome.
Sometime next year. We will advertise it on Eventbrite, hopefully get people signed up. We deliver it free, and obviously any further engagement with them becomes your clientele. But would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely. I'm not doing this just for the few. I've got a passion to literally help people to just build a legacy. And you can't build a legacy with no bricks. So I see myself as a financial coach, as a person who's guiding people on where to find the bricks to build that legacy. So I would be honoured to do a little webinar for On The Sofa, of course.
Excellent.
And then after that, if anyone wants to have a free one-to-one session with me, they're very welcome.
Brilliant. I'm going to throw this question in also. What sort of books should people be reading to really kind of change their mindset around money?
Ooh.
Ones that you may have read. I'm going to start off by saying Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I was going to say that. The Compound Effect is also very good. The Richest Man in Babylon, that's another one. Oh gosh, I've got so many. They're my favourite though. Definitely The Compound Effect and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read that.
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon
he's fantastic.
Hill, amazing. Because you really see real life examples which he's given about how to impact and change your mindset, and how that helps you to manifest in your life the change that you need to see. So they're my favourite.
I listened to cybernetics seminars. Listened to something called Jim Rohn. I believe Jim started Herbalife. And my dad sold Herbalife many moons ago, 30 years ago.
Awesome.
Zig Ziglar and many other thought leaders that talk about, you know, where they started off and how they changed their lives. And it was all about the mind.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, your mind could be your worst enemy when it comes to fight, or when it comes to anything.
Anything in life.
So
yeah.
it's just really, it's really important putting that out there, isn't it?
It is.
How you think, decisions that you make, behaviours form habits, habits form values, values form change, and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, one leads to another.
Yeah.
As a man thinketh, or as a woman thinketh, so are they.
So are they. Yeah. Who says that? What's his name? There's a guy.
Gosh.
I should know his name, but yeah, I can't remember. Yeah. I
think it's in the word. I think it's from the word.
From the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a man thinking, so you become.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it? What you reap, you sow. What you sow, you reap.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Describe to me in one sentence financial coaching and what you could bring to someone's life.
One sentence.
Or two, if you like.
Financial coaching, in short, is me guiding somebody, finding out what somebody really wants, what are the desires they have in their heart when it comes to their finances. That's not one sentence, but I will try and wrap it up.
It's fine, you can continue.
Finding out what somebody wants and helping them to get there, guiding them to get what they want from their finances.
Okay. And if people want to get hold of you, website, social media handles, what are they?
You can get hold of me at my main Instagram, which is Lisi Smith. You can also email me, especially if you want to have a one-to-one program, a free discovery session with me, at info@shebuildswealth@gmail.com. That's my current email address. And so I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear where you're at with your finances, and put a date in the diary. We can have a one-to-one session on Zoom and get you to where you want to be.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. My very last question is, what work do you do with your friends and family around finance coaching?
The same I do with my clients, very much similar. Because of the nature of what I do, I can work with anybody. And so if we're talking more friends, I'd say, rather than family. With family, we all kind of see what we're doing. And as I said, people copy what they see. So I've been talking to my girls about money, and we do little exercises with them with how much does that cost? You know, just paper and play money. But taking a step back and thinking about friends I deal with, we just talk. We talk about money and about their habits. And as soon as people found out I was even doing my training when I started last year, training as a financial advisor, I got so many messages showing interest and saying, oh, please, I need to speak to you. So there's a real need out there for financial coaching. And I love the fact that it's something that is blossoming. And I say that in one aspect, it is blossoming. But in another, there are many people that don't even know it exists. So that's why I'm happy to be here with you, Rachel, because we can get the word out there that, yes, financial coaches are there. You might not be able to afford a financial advisor, but a financial coach is more affordable. I'm there for those people that fall in the middle, that need guidance, that are worried and scared about being overwhelmed with the jargon. And I'll explain things in plain English. I'll even give them guides as well as part of my program. I didn't mention that. So that they have guides to take away and look at in their own time and learn the building blocks of financial stability.
Okay. Thank you so much. There's been a lot of questions there.
That's okay.
Is there any last things you'd like to get before we move on to the personality questions?
The personality questions. That sounds ominous.
It's great, actually.
Interesting. I think I've said all I need to say. I'm happy to have gotten the word out there, and for people to know that no matter where you are today, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. You have got a stable financial future in front of you if you're willing to do the work and make small changes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, personality questions, which are not ominous. Question 1 is, you're in a work meeting and your manager continues to undermine you in front of your clients. You are the project manager and you spent years trying to build up a really strong clientele. Do you ignore your manager, just stay silent, essentially, Do you put the meeting on a 5-minute break so you can have a discreet word with your manager about her behaviour and tell it to stop? Or do you consistently defend yourself in the meeting in front of your client so they're absolutely sure you're not a pushover?
Oh, it's an interesting one. It depends on the context of the business, but
assume it's a business where you're in a sales team, you've built up clientele. Having that relationship with them is meaningful because it's more money for the business, more bonuses for you, and it's better for your career aspirations and,
of course,
and everything else.
Yeah.
So
I personally would call a 5-minute break, only because I don't think it's a good look, as they say, for me to be going back and forth with my manager in front of my clients. I always put myself in my client's position. How would I want to be treated? I'd be sitting there thinking, oh, this is awkward. I can sense a vibe here. So to cut the atmosphere, we take a break, we recommence. If they carry on with their foolishness, then I'd have to take another 5 minutes, I think, and say, look, come on, can I have a talk? Tell me what's the problem? Are we not working towards the same objective here? And hopefully that will solve that.
Fantastic, good answer, thank you. Second question now is, when it comes to dating, do you think that two people can be compatible irrespective of their different life values and moral compass?
Oh, Rachel, this is juicy.
Yeah.
Let me position myself. Irrespective of their life values, that's a hard one. That is a hard one, because it depends why you're dating. Are you dating just for dating, or are you dating towards a life partner?
Assume they're dating for a life partner, a serious situation which could potentially lead to marriage.
I'd say your value systems have to be aligned, because the whole point of growing together, yes, there can be differences, because we're always growing as people, aren't we, as human beings? But essentially, you need to have that stable, equal footing when it comes to your value systems, because you're just asking for problems down the road. How are you going to agree when it comes to big life decisions if your value system is different? How are you going to raise your children with different sets of values? So, yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. Last question now, really relevant to the work you do.
Okay.
If you, Anneliese, had all the money in the world, what would you do with it and why?
Wow, that's an awesome question. We're talking about Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk type money. I'm a giver. I honestly believe it's better to give than to receive, but you need to receive as well. So if I were to receive all the money in the world, I'd want to eradicate illness through research. I'd want to set up foundations for people who really need a step up, not just to give charity. I'd give charity, I'd set up charities for people who need to eat, need shelter, but also education is big for me. It's one of the biggest loves that I have. And I honestly feel that if you educate someone, you empower them. And so I would do that. I would have houses, I would have, colleges where I wouldn't even charge people to study. I would have scholarships for people to go and study. So yeah, I would want to eradicate all kind of poverty that's out there, that's making people sad and making people miserable. And
fantastic answer.
And obviously go to the moon. Why not?
Ain't you such a beautiful person? I'm going to the moon anyway for Elon Musk. I know that already. Absolutely.
Oh, please don't
that's
forget
on the
me.
cards.
When you book your ticket, tell me, please.
But yeah, look, thank you so much for coming. I hope you've enjoyed being with us.
Yeah.
You've given us so much information, so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we'll keep on talking to arrange our 1 day or 1 hour session seminar
awesome.
for people out there.
I look forward to it. Thank
Fantastic.
you, Rachel.
You're welcome. Bye now.